Okay, today we're going to be working on an older vehicle. It's a 1998 Dodge Dakota with a 3.9, not that it makes any difference. The problem with this one here is that the light comes on the dashboard for ABS, brake, and also there is no speedometer. It doesn't register any speedometer. So after putting it on the computer, we find that there's a code 35 in the anti-lock brakes, which tells me that it's not picking up a signal from the rear sensor, which is actually located underneath the truck, right up on top of the differential. Is the sensor right up in here, and it senses rotation inside the differential, so it's not picking up a signal from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to check this sensor before you go ahead and replace it, not knowing if it's good or not. First thing you're going to do is up on top over here, we're going to push down on the tab up on top to actually release this sensor. It's right up on top here. You just push this down, and when you push it in, you push this in and then just rock it, and it comes right off. Then what we're going to do is underneath here in the sensor itself, you'll see the two pins inside that sensor, two electrical connectors there. What we're going to do is we're going to get an ohm meter, and we're going to test the resistance inside this unit here. So let me grab an ohm meter, and I'll show you how to test it. I'll be right back. What I find the best thing to do is when you're in here working, you're not going to be able to get up here with an ohm meter. So what you do is you just take some electrical connectors and you plug them on to the pins inside here, and that way it'll bring the wires down over here and give us a little bit of room to work. Okay, we're on, and we're making sure that these electrical contacts are not touching into each other. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our ohm meter and turn our ohm meter on, and now we're going to check the resistance in here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we'll have our wiring right there. We're going to connect our ohm meter onto the one lead, and then we're going to connect our ohm meter onto the second lead. We're just going to check to make sure we have good contact. We're going to connect it onto the second lead, and as you can see, it's showing nothing. So at this point we pretty much know that this sensor up here is no good. So we're going to be removing this sensor. But before I do that, let me get the replacement, and I'm going to show you how it should look when the sensor is good. So let me get a new sensor. I'll be right back. Okay, now this is our new sensor. I had them send up a sensor for it. I connected the electrical wires on the same way I did up in the top there, and now we're going to check the resistance of a new sensor, so you'll see what it's supposed to look like. And there you go. Okay? Well, this is the new sensor, and the one that's in the car obviously had no, there must have been something defective inside that sensor. So now we know that the sensor is no good. We're going to be replacing it with a new one. So let me grab some tools, and I'll show you how to remove that sensor and install a new one. Removing the sensor is up on top over here. There's a 13 millimeter nut, and we just take it and break it loose. Take that totally out of the way. We want to get that off of here so we can remove the bracket over the top of it. Alright, take that out of the way like that. We're going to be removing all the other parking brake cable and the the brake lines are held onto that nut up there. So then after we take that out, down underneath it, you'll find another 13 millimeter nut that actually I'm staying corrected, it's actually a little bit bigger. This one is a 14 millimeter. We're going to take that one out, and that'll take off the take the sensor out of the differential. All right, we're going to need to put this back in, so hold on to it. And we'll take this cover off here. I'm going to be replacing this. This is pretty tight, so we're going to grab a pair of pliers and we're going to give it a little bit of a twist to try to get it to move out of there. Have patience with it, don't force it, you don't want to break it. So just get it to rotate a little at a time, and you'll see it starts to move. And then what you do is you just keep twisting it back and forth. Yeah, twist it back and forth, and just have slight upward motion on it, or upper pressure, to try to get it to pull out of the rear. Rotating it back and forth and pull it out at the same time. Once you get a little bit of space underneath there, you can get in there with a screwdriver and just, again, slight upward motion. You don't want to break it in the housing. Time with it. It's been in there for quite a few years. We'll just keep working it back and forth, and you'll see each time it moves a little bit more up and out. And here it is. That's the old sensor. So let's grab the new one, and we'll put the new one in there. Now we got the replacement. We're going to put the replacement inside there. But before you put it in, it's a good idea to put some grease on here so it slides in here without any kind of problems. It looks like this is a redesign. The actual, it has a plug on it, so there must have been a problem in the harness or something. And you just push this in here. All the way down. Then you put your bolt back in the top. That secures it down to the differential. And we'll tighten that all the way in. put your brake line back over the top of it. This is just the brackets that secures everything. And you push it all the way down. And you put your bolt back on there also. I'm sorry, put your nut back on there. And you tighten the nut back down. And we'll tighten that down all the way also. Secures your brake line and your parking brake in place. Alright. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to reconnect the sensor to the harness. And you'll hear it snap right in there. Make sure it's connected back in where it was disconnected from. We're going to put a clip on this and hold it in place. And now we're going to lower the car down. Turn off that light for the ABS. And we're going to recheck to make sure that the light doesn't come on and that everything is functioning properly. Alright, so that's what it should look like afterwards. Everything's plugged in. We're going to connect this up here with a zip tie to keep it out of the way. And that's it. Let's lower the car down and we'll test it and see how it is. Okay, now that we have the car back down on the ground, we're going to just get into the computer and we're going to clear the codes out of it. Once we clear the codes out, then we'll start it up and we'll make sure everything is okay. We're going to clear the codes, check and make sure the codes are all gone, no codes present, and we'll start it up. And that ABS light should go out after it goes through a systems check, which it did. And if everything is working properly, we should be able to put it in gear and have the speedometer working, which it is. Alright. So not too bad when you see it done. Take your time, just be careful when you get that sensor out of there, and you should be good. Obviously, I do have the truck up on the lift. The wheels are not on the ground, so as you can see, that's why we were spinning the rear wheels, but you really have to drive the truck to be able to tell for sure. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.